Well, then shortly after that, after specifically speaking about the message to his team, he was asked an interesting question. It's one that's normal, right, at universities that have not hired or employed those of African American descent in the coaching ranks before. And he was asked specifically about being an African American coach, or the first African American head coach in Nebraska history. And this was Mickey's response. I found it quite different.
Like I said, it's about Nebraska football. It's bigger than me. I haven't really thought about that because I've been a football coach. I've been a black football coach all my life, but I haven't thought about that. I'm more concerned about the boys and getting the boys ready to play on Saturday. It's bigger than me.
Absolutely, because this isn't about him. It's not about skin tone. It's not about fitting a specific demographic and making them happy. It's about making sure that the kids in the locker room have the best leader in place to lead them. And obviously, Trev didn't see skin color. He saw a leader. And he said, that needs to be my leader. And I've said this on Twitter. I don't know if I've said this on this podcast, and I will say it very plainly. I do not believe that Scott Frost gave Mickey Joseph the associate head coach title when he was hired. I believe that was Trev Albert's doing. I believe he knew that this guy was kind of a dead man walking, as we talked about before we got on live, Scott, that he thought that we need to make sure that everybody in Husker Nation knows that Scott Frost is not going to get the job done, which absolutely breaks my heart to my core, watching that kid play back in the day in Wood River and seeing the tenacity. It was so difficult to see that he couldn't get it done. But that the fact that I think Mickey Joseph was the associate head coach because that's what Trev wanted, because that's who was going to have to step in once the thing started imploding. And I think it imploded a little sooner than what Trev thought it was going to. But yeah, I thought his response was absolutely appropriate and perfectly stated. What did you think?
Yeah, perfectly stated. Wonderful. It brings everybody together. He's not alienating any specifically ideological group of individuals. I think it was a very uniting statement to make.
Amen.
And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I accidentally prefaced it when I had mentioned his automation of looking at the room from left to right. One of the things that I've always found very interesting, and I've watched tons and tons of documentaries and YouTube videos about it, is body language.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to tell when somebody's telling the truth or when somebody's trying to say something that they are told to say. And I saw a bunch of people on YouTube and on Twitter making comments about, oh, he just said that to appease a certain group of Husker fans. And you can look at his body language. You can tell he looks in an upward direction. People that look in upward directions are actually looking for their own thoughts, not a thought that they were told to think.
Sure,
and so
exactly.
Any of the people out there that think that he just made that statement to appease a certain ideology of Husker fans, no, that's what Mickey Joseph believes. You can tell by his body language. You can tell by the way he smiles a little bit. You can tell by the way that he conducts himself. That is what Mickey Joseph believes. And you don't have to insert your ideology onto that. And I don't mean to make this a little bit kind of political. I'm just stating facts here. Now, it's subject to interpretation, I'm sure. But I loved it. The way he handled it, perfect, especially in his specific circumstance of being an interim head coach. Pressure's on.
Sure.
You gotta say the right things, and he definitely did, and I think he believed them too. So just had
absolutely. I completely agree with you, because I think the fact that he said, I didn't even think about that. And then the next statement he said was, well, I've been a football coach. And then he had to qualify, well, I've been a black football coach for many, many years.
Yeah.
He just sees himself as a football coach, as a man who leads young men, regardless of race, color, creed, or sexual identity, or any of that kind of crap. He's just a coach. That's how he sees himself. And that's how we should see him. There shouldn't be an identity attached to it. He's Nebraska's coach. That's all the identity he needs. And I think he believes that to his core. So I thought that was a great response. Absolutely loved what he said, not because
Yep.
I'm a white guy, but just because I'm a football fan and I appreciate a football coach wanting to just be a football coach. And I think that's pretty cool. So
Yep. And it reminds me of when I was in the Marine Corps. First thing came first was the uniform that you wore, the name that was on your chest. You had your name and you had your affiliation with the United States Marine Corps. That was your identity, first and foremost. And as a football coach, it's the same thing. You are first and foremost a football coach, and then underneath that, you are the football coach of the university that you coach for.
Sure.
Like,
absolutely.
That's how the hierarchy works. So,
absolutely.
Anyway,
awesome.
No need to go too deep into that.
We've got a few more clips to get to.